Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Small Biz Highlight. My name is Tiffany Roman, and I am your host. I thank you for stopping by. For all of you who are catching us live, please make sure that you are hitting a like button, a heart button, the share button, maybe even a watch party. Whatever tickles your fancy, just do it, please. Help share the word, not only about this web show, but of course about the amazing businesses I've highlighted before and the current one I'm about to introduce you to in a short amount of time right now. So, just a couple tidbits tonight. My interviewer, my guest for tonight, could not make it. Business stuff happens. You know what happened. I can't get mad at that. So I'm actually going to be going live by myself. Dun dun dun. And I'm gonna be giving you guys an update. I've been kind of been posting a lot about how things are changing for the show. I've been making a whole lot of changes. And I just want to update you all as to why finally and give you some kind of idea of what's to come so that you guys can celebrate with me because I'm finally ready to tell you guys and be all excited about it. So that'll be at 6 o'clock tonight at our normal time. It'll just be me by myself. So check us out. Check me out. Um, but right now, my sole focus is Miss Lena Hershey. Okay. Anahata?
Yeah,
Anahata.
you got it. You got it.
Anahata Yoga and Mindful Movement. Love it. Uh, she's out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania. And if you watched an episode that I did a couple weeks back of Sala del Spada fencing school, he actually tried to make sure that I had her on the show because he knew it would be a total benefit to all of you. So, Lena, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here today with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. I always start the show with just a simple question. Who are you? Help the viewers, anybody who may be interested, get to know you as a person first before we talk about the business.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lena Hershey, and I'm a person, just like everybody else. Um, I live in Carlisle, just like Tiffany mentioned, and I have business called Anahata Yoga and Mindful Movement. So I have been practicing yoga for a very long time, and then I went through an extensive yoga teacher training a few years back, and this is how I ended up making my passion for yoga my business and my job. Simply because I really love sharing what I learned with other people. I think I'm a teacher at heart, and I've been fighting it for some time in my life, and finally it came through. I love teaching. I love teaching and sharing what I'm passionate about. So I live in Carlisle, right in downtown, and that's where my business is as well. So downtown Carlisle is my home now, anyway, and has been for 9 years. So I'm your neighbor who has a business in your neighborhood.
Oh, that's awesome. Where are you originally from, may I ask? Because you have an accent and I can't ignore it. I'm sorry.
I don't have an accent. No, I'm just kidding. I'm I moved here from Russia 9 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Goodness. I've met I'm in the military and I had a couple of soldiers in my unit, my previous unit, that both were from the same region. So I
Mm.
guess that's why I kind of recognize it, but I wasn't sure, so I didn't want to assume.
They probably had thicker accent than I do.
Yes, yes, they did have a thicker accent, honestly. But no, that's great. Well, welcome to the US 9 years later. But
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you about this business. How long has your business been open?
We opened in January 2018, so that makes it 3 years almost.
Oh, wow, that's great. So when you talk about, I know everybody pretty much has an idea what yoga is for the most part, stretching and the exercises and whatnot, but how does mindful movement fall into yoga with your studio?
Well, first, I think yoga is a lot more than stretching. There's so many aspects to yoga that we in the West don't really realize until we start getting into it and start taking some classes or maybe working with a teacher or exploring yoga on our own. There's so many aspects of yoga, like breathing and meditation. All that is yoga. And it's more of a lifestyle than just an hour of stretching on the mat. Mindful movement component of the business name and the business itself is I'm also a personal trainer. And that's how I know Patrick from Sala della Spada. He is a long time client of mine, and we work on physical training with him. So, mindful movement as opposed to personal training, I guess my goal was to emphasize that the training sessions that I do with people are really focused on their needs. And it's not necessarily the traditional, let's sweat it out, or like, anything like CrossFit or traditional gym workouts. It's more working with your body, understanding your body and its needs, and moving accordingly, moving mindfully.
I love that. I love that it's more you make it sound like it's more about actually knowing your limits instead of just going to a gym and beating yourself senseless sometimes
Mhm.
is what I feel like I'm doing when I'm working out and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. So I've
So
worked
I
with people who have come out of physical therapy and maybe have some limitations, and they have some recommendations from their physical therapist, or with people who want to work on something specific, like, I don't know, their speed or their athletic performance or anything like that. So, whatever the goals are, we really gear those exercises towards the goals that they have.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so your business, like you said, is all about yoga, mindful movement, but I did see some notes on your page that mentioned aerial yoga classes and like meditation classes. What other kind of services do you provide?
So aerial yoga is something that we're the only studio in Carlisle who does aerial yoga, and that is for those who are not familiar. It's the style of yoga that's been around for a while. It's become really popular lately, but it's yoga done with the assistance of a silk hammock. So it's not actually silk; it's like a synthetic material, but it's very durable. Nobody falls out of it. Nobody, it's safe with the guidance of a teacher, of course, and it's just a lot of fun. It does require a little bit of strength in in some moments there you have to like maybe lift part of your body weight, or sometimes the entire body weight. But the great part about it is that the hammock is also very supportive. It's a prop, so um, it helps you practice instead of like, people sometimes think that it's like Cirque du Soleil and you're like flying high up there. We do have 14-foot ceilings, but most of the time you're like maybe a foot off the ground. So don't get too excited about aerial yoga that way. But we offer several styles of yoga for all kinds of preferences, I should say. Some people prefer a gentle yoga practice where they just stretch and kind of breathe and move through with their body.
Mhm.
Other people prefer a more vigorous practice, so we have vigorous classes. And there's also something in between called slow flow yoga. We just started offering yoga for larger bodies, so whoever identifies with that category can join the class. We also just started yoga for men on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. So, traditionally in the West, yoga is kind of, female,
Yeah,
mostly female situation, right, in classes. So sometimes
absolutely.
guys come in and they stick to the back row of the class and they're a little intimidated and sometimes they don't come back. So we decided to create a separate safe space for men to practice yoga.
I was gonna
So,
say, when I think of yoga, automatically I think of just a female class. Sometimes you have that random class that has a male teacher, but I
mhm.
I don't think of a lot of men doing yoga, but I think that would be amazing for them because I know it's more than just stretching, but it's also you know pulling yourself to limits you normally wouldn't. Like it's crazy how you'll do like one session of yoga and think, "Oh, that wasn't so bad." And then the next day you're like, "Oh crap, I hurt in places I didn't know I could hurt before." Right?
Right. Well, it's like that with any activity, but then the great thing about our bodies is adaptation, right? Our body adapts to everything, and the next time and the next time and the next time you're going to need more. You're going to need more activity or more intensity or more of something. So that's how we become stronger. That's how we become more flexible. That's how we become something different, something better by adapting, right? It's been a
Now,
lot of adapting in 2020.
I was gonna say, you said you've been open for about 3 years now.
Mhm.
When COVID hit, I'm sure it was, something that nobody was nobody was expecting, especially the shutdowns.
It was
But,
the curveball for sure.
when the shutdown happened, how did it affect your business? I'm assuming you had to shut down completely.
Absolutely, yes. So we before the shutdown, we were shut down March 15th. I'll never forget that day, or 16th. Um, Before that, 2 months before that, we moved to a new location right in downtown Carlisle. We had an amazing ice art festival that Downtown Carlisle Association puts together. We had many people come through the door, take the information, all excited. Our classes started to fill up, and we just started to really kind of enjoying being in a new space, the new location. And then March 15th, we had to just completely close our doors. With all the challenges that we faced in 2020, I feel like I wish it wasn't at such a high cost. But it drove us to really implement what we've been planning to implement in the next 3 years. So suddenly, in during the shutdown, we went online with our classes. So we're still offering classes online.
Oh, that's
Almost
good.
every class, except for aerial yoga, can be taken online. So if you see it on our schedule, then you can sign up for class, and you'll get an email with instructions on how to join online if you would rather do that rather than coming to the studio. So during those months in the shutdown, we of course we had to do everything online. So we had to figure out all that from the technical standpoint, like how do you even teach online? How do people join? How do they pay? How do like all of that? And then we had to take our retail part of the business, which we have like a small boutique retail shelves, we had to take that online. So now we have an online store on our website with everything that's available in the studio
Oh,
now
wow.
being available online. And another dream of mine that I had I had plans to do this maybe years down the road, was creating a on-demand yoga class library where people can push the button, rent a class for 24 hours. So we did all of that in the months of the shutdown. So we were shut down between March and June. And in those short 3 months, it was just tremendous growth. It just pushed us to the new heights, to the new ways of reaching our community, which really needed us, and we needed them. So we needed to stay connected with people. And definitely, it wasn't easy, but it was definitely very, very growth promoting for us as a business, for sure.
It had to be so relieving and so satisfying in a way to see that, your business being run a certain way for so long, and then all of a sudden you having to switch gears and totally learn a whole new concept, and yet it still worked out in the end for you. I had to like
I love the learning part. I love a challenge. I don't idle very well. I need to always be learning something and teaching something new to people.
Yes.
So that I felt like that part for me was like, okay, it was, crisis mode. All systems go. Let's do this. Let's figure out how to work on Zoom. Let's figure out like all of that. That was probably the easy part. And plus, being isolated in, in shut down, sitting at home. We couldn't travel, we couldn't go anywhere except for groceries. It was just exhausting. I just really needed something to do. So why not put up an online store? Anyway, I'm just trying to say that there's a silver lining in this, and it really
Oh yeah.
promoted, and I've seen it all around, at least in Carlisle, you know, businesses pivoting, adjusting, growing through this crisis. And like I said, I wish it wasn't at such a high cost and people dying and, you know, and of course, there's other kind of aspects of this that are not so positive. But I think this is at least one silver lining in this whole pandemic, that it forced a lot of growth.
I have to agree with you. I know that there has to be a ton of other communities pulling together and supporting each other and whatnot. But through my episodes of this show and whatnot, I've been fortunate enough to interview a bunch of different businesses from Carlisle. And it honestly just seems like Carlisle has 100% has the small businesses back. And the small businesses all have each other's back. It's like the most cohesive team building like atmosphere that I it just melts my heart and makes me so happy to know that there are communities like that that are building together and realizing that they need each other instead of turning each other away or thinking they can figure it out on their own. I love that. you know
You're absolutely right. And when we first shut down and we're a yoga studio, by the time we figured out the whole online thing, it took a little while. Our restaurants were allowed to still do the curbside pickup, for example, or to do the
Mhm.
takeout. So those businesses who were struggling themselves, they're struggling to keep the ends meet, they were supporting those who were struggling more. And that was absolutely just heart opening. It was so wonderful to see and to receive that support. We have in Carlisle, we have amazing organizations here, business organizations. Like we have the Carlisle Area Chamber of Commerce. They have been amazing throughout this whole thing with their support. We have the Downtown Carlisle Association. We have the Destination Carlisle. We have so many groups of businesses that really pull together, and that it means a lot just to even see and know that that support is there, because it gives you the feeling that you're not by yourself, that you're not on
Yeah.
your own, that there's other people behind you, and that there are other people who are able to support you and they're rooting for you as well as you are for them.
Yes, like we were talking about before we went live, small businesses are kind of our own little clan now.
Mhm.
More than ever. Before we should have been to begin with, but now more than ever through this pandemic and whatnot, we have grown to become this like own community of ours that if we're not supporting each other and we're not helping each other progress and move forward, then nobody else is going to. So
Absolutely. Yeah,
if anything, that's why, through this web show, my main goal is to, encourage people to shop small. That's why, my first question is always, who are you? Because it's so important for people to see who they're doing business with versus what can they offer them.
absolutely.
And because it's so easy to forget who the family is, who's benefiting off of they're choosing to purchase off something off your website or taking a class with you or whatnot. Just because we
Absolutely.
don't really usually think about that. We usually just think,
Mhm.
yeah, we're just gonna go do this and be done with it. But
It is somebody's dream that you are
yes,
supporting. So someone had a dream and they've created this and they've taken the time, money, resources away from their families, from their personal life to bring this dream to life. And every day, all those business owners, the small business owners, they're doing everything in their power to bring new business, to keep the business, to keep the
mhm,
customers happy, to keep their dream alive. And it's just so true. Every person, being a small business, every person counts.
yeah,
Everyone who comes through the door, we know them by name. You
yes,
don't get lost in a small business. You are remembered, you are taken care of, and you're not going to get a Christmas card from Home Depot. Nothing against Home Depot, but they just can't physically, send gift cards to all the customers. It's a lot of
You're
customers.
absolutely right.
But, you might just get a Christmas card from someone, who owns a local yoga studio or who owns a local restaurant or, just people in your community, your neighbors.
And it won't be a dear valued customer card. It'll be, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, it will be
It'll
personal.
have your name and it'll remember what items you bought. Like
Mhm,
people will have that ability to know who you are and remember you. And that's
absolutely.
something that, you don't get from the big box stores, like you're saying. Yes, you're absolutely right. So you've been open for a little while now, thankfully. What kind of um precautions or whatnot are you taking for people who do decide to come in and take yoga in the studio?
So that definitely was a huge adjustment, of course, for all of us. Um, with the current situation, with the current guidelines from the governor's office, we're asking everyone while in the studio at all times to first maintain social distance. So we have markings on the floor where your mat goes, and it's 6 feet apart from other people. We are originally we always have been a small studio, so we never had like huge classes like 40 people or 50 people, but now we're doing the 50% capacity. So the
Oh,
biggest class you will ever attend will have 6 people in it total, so that we can allow that social distancing. And we're asking everyone to wear masks at all times. So previously, we were allowed to remove the masks once we're socially distant from each other on the mats. Now we're wearing them at all times because of the current surge of COVID
yeah.
19 cases in our county and in our state and in our country. So, definitely cleaning protocols are, we're cleaning after every class, all the frequently touched surfaces. Aerial yoga hammocks are steam cleaned after each use.
Oh, wow.
And quarantined. So we had to remove some classes from our schedule so that the hammocks can just stay there for a couple days so that they're not used. So we're taking that extra step. We are not allowing people to share props. So previously we would have yoga blocks, bolsters,
Mhm.
blankets. So instead of having like just like a communal prop shelf, now we're allowing our students to set aside a dedicated set of props that only they are using. Before we opened and reopened in June, we washed and sanitized and cleaned all the props and bolsters and blankets and everything. So ever since then, of course, we cleaned them. But ever since then, our students have been using their dedicated set of props that is set aside in the back room. So we're doing that. Um,
That's great.
or
That's
people
a
can bring
really
their
good
own.
idea.
Yeah, people can bring their own if that's, if that makes them feel safer, and they're welcome to keep their props at the studio. They don't have to hold them back and forth, or they can just bring them for class.
Now, if things ever get back to normal or
Oh,
whatever
they
the
will.
new normal is going to be, whatever that new
When?
normal is going to look like, do you think you're going to continue doing the online classes as well as the in class?
I
Is
think we will. I think we will. I think that doing online classes really suddenly it opened us up to the whole new audience, right? So it's kind of a double-edged sword. First, there's been many, many, many big, very successful businesses that this is all they do. And they have been doing it for many years before COVID, Gaiam and all the other, YouTube teachers. That's
Mhm.
all they've been doing. They never really taught in person, or they didn't have a studio. So suddenly, overnight, all the little kind of private small yoga studios have been thrown out into that big market to compete with those big successful online yoga studios that have millions of followers, and they're priced accordingly. So you can probably get a subscription for like, I don't know, $20 a month. So that's one side of it, and the other side, someone who's a student at my studio, and they maybe have relatives somewhere in the different states or in different countries,
Yeah.
they can reach out and say, hey, I really would like you to support my friend Lena and her studio because she now offers online classes. You and I can do yoga together on Zoom with Lena, and she's great. So it opened up this word of mouth kind of global
Yeah.
community to us. So that's really great. Um, I think we're going to continue to do that.
That's great. I love that. Because I really think it does open you up to just your outside of your community, like you said. People know people from all over the place, and no matter
Mhm.
where they are in the world, they can absolutely chime in and take the class with you, and that is just a reach you couldn't have if you didn't have the online presence like you do.
Mhm.
So I'm so glad that you're considering it because I really do think it's a great idea. Yeah,
I think it
especially
is
after all that
great.
work
And
you did to set it up, right?
yeah, and it's once you have it down, once you kind of connect your booking system with your Zoom and like all of that, and it's just amazing how quickly that market adjusted. So now the booking software that we're using for our students to book classes, they're actually offering an extra service where you can live stream your classes right there from, from the same, same screen, the same
Yes.
app.
Oh, wow, that would be kinda cool. Because then you'd that would be like you're on TV. You have the audience in the room, and then you have the audience that's watching you for however many far away or however. Oh, that
Yeah,
would be
we've done that. We've done that throughout the pandemic. When we were allowed to reopen in June, that's oftentimes that's what it was. We would have, I don't know, 4 or 5 students in a room, and then the iPad set up, and 2, 3 students from who were not comfortable coming back to class in person. And we're still offering that, especially now people are getting a little bit more cautious, and that's great that they are, and kind of stay away from interactions and public places. They can still join us online.
That's so great. Oh my goodness. Well, if you were just joining us, um, I have been chatting with Lena Hershey here. She is from Carlisle, PA, and owns Anahata Yoga and Mindful Movement. We got to come up with an acronym for you or something. I think that'll be fun. Like
Mm.
shorten the name up somehow.
Which you can just call it Anahata.
No, but it's so. I love the idea of your business. I love how you took um the adversity that was the shutdowns and whatnot and totally took that as a chance to progress, a chance to enhance your business rather than try to think that it's here to defeat you in some kind of way. I love your attitude about it. You can totally tell you're a yoga teacher because you're just so calm and collected. I love it. Oh my goodness. But I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to be on the show with me today, to talk about your business, to introduce us to you. I really did have a really great time talking to you today. Did she pop? Did she freeze up on me? Lena! Oh, no. I've never had that happen before. I'm not sure, at least. I don't think so. Maybe she'll try to come back on. But yes, if you are just joining us, thank you for stopping by during our live session here today. We were talking with Lena Hershey, Anahata Yoga and Mindful Movement, some amazing classes, some amazing products that she has online on her online store now. Offering online yoga classes if you're still not comfortable with going in studio sessions. If you are interested and want to find out more information about her and her studio, please don't hesitate to check out the comments section. That will definitely have the links and information to contact her and to look her up on her website, as well as in the description of the post. Um, both of them will have the information in there, clickable. It should be at least. If for some reason the links do not work for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'd be happy to, link you up with her or get you her information. No problem at all. It kind of, oh, wait, she's coming back. Hold on.
Hi, I'm back.
Lena, you're back. I wanted to just thank you again for being on here. I
Your
really
sound
did
is
appreciate your
very
time.
funky again.
Hello? But if anything, I just wanted to say, thank you for your time. I really do hope you have a good rest of your day.
I did not hear that, but
Lena, you're killing me here.
Here you go. Now I can hear you well. Okay.
I was just saying, I had a really great time talking to you. Sorry about the, technical difficulties here, but I really hope you had a great time.
You too. Well, thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day.
You too.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.